Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning back into yet another episode of Falcons Friday, presented by the MorganMan Sports Podcast. You can find me here on SoundCloud.com, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. In today's episode of Falcons Friday, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the recent news of the Atlanta Falcons, or any NFL team. All 32 teams have reported that no fans will be allowed to team facilities for the start of training camp on July 28th, 2020. And also, we are talking about fantasy football. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going over tight ends, wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks. But for my case, more specifically, we are talking about the Atlanta Falcons in this instance. So, to start off with, we are going to talk about the recent news of no fans being allowed at Falcons training camp in Flowery Branch, Georgia. So for the first time in 14 seasons, the Falcons will not allow fans to attend any training camp practices due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Falcons allowed fans into selected practices for the past 3 seasons, and in the previous 11 campaigns have at least held the Friday Night Lights scrimmage with fans. The NFL and the NFLPA have been meeting this week, and with hopes of setting return to work guidelines, both sides agreed of having no fans at practices according to league-owned NFL media. The fans had the option of hosting 2 fan events at Mercedes-Benz Stadium with league protocols in place. However, the team has elected to not hold any events at the stadium. The Falcons had been cutting back on allowing fans at training camp practices in Flowery Branch before the pandemic. The Falcons held 8 open practices last season, the fewest among NFC South teams, excluding the Saints. The Panthers had 14 free and open practices with fans, while the Buccaneers had 11. The Saints had 10 open practices in 2018. Around the league, the Broncos had 19 open practices, more than double what the Falcons had, even though they both played in August 1st at the 2019 Hall of Fame game. Last year, the Packers, Colts, and Vikings, for that fact, had 16 open practices. Browns, Cowboys, Panthers, Ravens, and Steelers had 15. Cardinals, Ravens, 14. Chargers, 13. Seahawks, 12. Giants and Bengals, 10. Bears, 9. Bills, 8, down from 21 for 2014. Rams, 7. Jet, 5. And Eagles had 1. The Falcons are set to report Tuesday, July 28th. The entire training camp schedule has not been released. Also, the NFL and the NFLPA previously agreed not to hold joint practices in 2020. The Falcons were in discussions to hold joint practices with the Dolphins and the Bills before the league closed in its facilities in March. Falcons head coach Dan Quinn was open to looking at joint practices after the team's slow starts the past 2 seasons. The Falcons started last season 1-7 and were 1-4 to start 2018. The NFL's contact rules instituted in 2011 collective bargaining agreement call for no live tackling in practice, which makes it difficult to get ready for the season. The Falcons have looked for a way to maximize the live contact. So this has been a right move, in my honest opinion, to not let fans into the facilities and watch a certain team practice. But, it was kind of a concern, at the start of it, because whenever the team facility shut down, this whole pandemic started really getting out of hand. The first thing I thought was, what about the fans? What's going to happen with the fans? Because for 14 seasons, the Falcons have been letting fans into the training camp facility. But this will be the first time in 14 seasons. So if I was the GM, I would kind of do something like what the Atlanta Braves are doing on Fox Sports South. And that is host a TV appearance pretty much on your local station. So for like Atlanta stations, or really Georgia in general, it'll be the CW69 of Atlanta, and let them kind of like, of course, safe distance, 6 or more feet apart, and let them kind of like film the practice where fans are still interactive and you're getting the training camp, vibe pretty much. Now, you won't get like concession stands or, free goodies or whatever like that. You won't be getting that. Or the Atlanta Falcons could put a YouTube series out, like day 1, 2020, red zone targeting pretty much, name it off like that. So I could see a possibility of the Falcons in all teams pretty much put out a YouTube video or their local stations within that state to air a live practice like the Braves are doing right now on Fox Sports South.